whole audio thing figured out for this one. So, what's everybody got going on today? I'm assuming you guys are all here because you want to learn more about how to follow up, right? How many of you guys have a written follow-up plan, like a real written follow-up plan for following up with leads? Right. So I guess this was, so I've been in the real estate business a long time. I've always been the guy that, would get there on the phone and I'd call and I'd get listings. I'd follow up with people. And that's one thing that I learned before. So when I was in coaching originally, like years and years ago, one of the things that they would tell us was that, this was a long time ago. This was like 2004, 2005. They go, oh, follow up with them 3 or 4 times. And, like if either you list or you don't, right? And I kind of realized that, man, I was going through a lot of leads with not like a lot of response, right? Not a lot of success, I would say. And I know some of you guys are doing that too. Some of you guys have subscribed to Red-X, and by the way, Red-X, everybody's in real estate agents that really work. If you tell them that I sent you or that you're in that group, then they will waive the setup fee. But some of you guys were out there and you were really really following up, right? You're really working hard, and you're calling, you're making the calls, but you're not really getting the results you're looking for, right? And one thing I learned was sometimes, and this is we're going to go through some things here in this follow-up planner. Everybody that registered for this got this in their email. If you didn't, send me a message and I'll make sure you get it. So what I realized that a lot of agents were doing when I first started training and coaching real estate agents, I'll be honest with you, I don't want to say I was dumb, but man, maybe I was a little bit dumb, because this is what I thought. I thought that everybody just got up and went to work, and I thought that, like, I had some sales background. I thought everybody did this, and I didn't realize they did, right? And what I noticed really quickly when I started training agents was, and I started role playing with agents and listening to them on the phone and listening to recordings, is a lot of you guys would go, your follow-up was, hey Jason, are you ready to list again? Are you ready to list your house today? And you go, no, sorry, not really ready to list my house today. And so then what would happen from there is that basically that would be the end of the call, right? Once you mention listing their house, the call was over. Wouldn't you guys agree? So I realized that, and I was like, man, why am I not I'm not running into that. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, man, it's been a long time since I ran into that. I've been making calls for a while, and this was 6-7 years ago when I started training real estate agents. I was like, why am I not doing? Why are they having all these problems that I hadn't had? So I started really thinking about it, right? And I have 6 beliefs here, and I put them in this book that I have when you're following up. And this is on the telephone, right? Now, this was a lot of stuff was wrote way before me and Larry talked about FU bots and created that and launched that like we did last week. So every call, you need to try to offer something of value, right? For most sellers, information is value. People in general, they're kind of nosy, and we all want to take advantage of that fact. We all want to know what our neighbor's house sold for. We all want to know what the house is they're asking for rent down the street, right? I'll tell you what, dude, for you guys who don't know, I'm heavily invested in rentals. And when a house goes on the market in my neighborhood for rent, I am all over that thing. Like, I see it on Marketplace, and I'm like driving around the neighborhood sometimes. And then when it goes off Marketplace, I'm like, holy shit, people paid that much, or holy shit, like they got a deal, or wow, they rented that quick, Like, I'm all over it, dude. I'm the nosiest neighbor ever when it comes to something like that. When a house on the market in my neighborhood, I'm nosy. What are they asking for? What are they going to get? Let me look at the pictures. And dude, I'm a real estate agent. I do this all the time. You'd think I'd be tired of it by now. But I think it's human nature. right? So I think when we offer something of value, right? Um, and when you're on the calls, when you do have a call and you're having a significant conversation with somebody, and this is something where I'm talking about significant conversation, you're actually having a conversation. When are you guys looking to move? How much you're asking for the house? Maybe they're telling you their deep, dark secrets on why it didn't sell. Who knows? But you're having a significant conversation. I want to try to take notes. I want to get as much information as possible. I want to know what the motivating factors are, and I want to follow up based around that. If they said, you know what, man, we got a new grandkid on the way. They're going to be born in November. We'd really like to be, wherever we'd like to be closer by Christmas for sure, right? And you want to write that down. You want to make a note, right? So I don't believe that most sellers just wake up, decide they want to sell their house for no reason, man. I think there's some discussion that goes in that, some thought like, man, something's happened typically. Something's happened. I mean, I'll tell you guys this, I got a really good friend of mine, you know what, I'll tell you a different one. I'll tell you about my parents. My parents had a house that was on the lake, and anyway, taxes started going up like crazy. And you know what? And nobody ever used this house. It was a second home for them. Nobody ever used it. And dude, they sold the house because taxes almost doubled in 2 or 3 years. And it wasn't that my dad couldn't afford the taxes. It was, I mean, honestly, they could have rented it out VRBO or Airbnb and probably done really well. It wasn't that. It was just the point. My dad was like, you know what, taxes went up. I could do something else with the money. We don't go down there no way, And he sold it. There was definitely a motivating factor there, right? It was just an unused property that all the upkeep, insurance, and all that stuff was going on, and he just didn't want to do it anymore. And taxes was his motive. See, taxes was his motivation, without a doubt, right? So I believe that happens. I don't believe that, it could be a new roof and they just don't have money to fix it, right? But most sellers want to work with an agent that keeps them the most informed and has the best plan to sell their house. Now, the problem with a lot of agents is they don't have a plan to sell their house, right? Now, I believe that you got to have this pre-listing package and stuff like that. I believe that we sell a service that sells houses, and we should customize a marketing plan. We shouldn't go out there and if we list 10 houses, have 10 different marketing plans, right? We should have one marketing plan, and that's the plan we use for all houses we list. We have that plan and we want to talk about it, right? That's what sells houses. We sell a service that sells houses. We don't sell a house. We get paid on the services performance, right? Sellers want an agent that's confident. Some of you guys on the phone, I'll tell you this, some of you guys, the reason why you're not doing better, it's the tonality and the way that you're talking to the sellers. Now, if you go out here and you start recording yourself, really paying attention to what you say and how you say it, you're going to notice something, especially if you start recording yourself. Some of you guys sound like you're breaking the news that there was a death in the family when you're talking about listing their houses. You have zero confidence whatsoever, right? And you're not using a script, and you sound nervous, and you sound like you're not very confident, right? Everybody wants a seller that's confident. If you're not confident about selling their house, how can they be confident about selling their house, right? Yes, Mr. Seller, we can sell your house. I sell houses. That's why I'm calling you. A lot of you guys the sellers going, well, so you think you can sell my house? And you're going, maybe we can, Mr. Seller. I don't really know. And then you go off on some tangent. You go off on like a side quest. Like, dude, it's a yes or no question. Yes, you can sell it, or no, you can't. That's the only thing they're asking about, right? Yes, you can sell it. You can sell any house that a buyer comes along with the money to buy it, right? It's not hard. It's not rocket science, right? They ask you questions like, hey, do you guys have any buyers looking for a house? Guys, you always have buyers. If you are a part of MLS, you have buyer and you have a listing, there are buyers looking at that house. once you put a property in MLS, you have the ability, that property has gotten distributed to all the buyers seriously looking in your MLS. For you guys that don't know this, your MLS is hooked up to an IDX, which is hooked up to all these fancy real estate websites, right? And everybody that's on a property search that's looking for a house, say in the $200,000 to $250,000 range, will receive that listing that you just put on MLS for $225,000, right? Yes, there are buyers. Yes, we have buyers looking. Yes. To access those buyers, you guys will have to put their property into your marketing plan, right? So, guys, we got to keep this in mind. We got to look at the way we're talking. So you got to be confident, right? I've never heard a seller say, guys, that, oh man, I didn't list with Jason because you know what? Jason just kept me too informed. Man, Jason called me every week and he told me about the house on the market and told me how mine would be positioned if we listed it today. And he told me about how Labor Day is coming up and that's a big weekend. And guys, we got to keep that in mind too. We got Labor Day coming up. You guys should be following up like crazy here the next few days about Labor Day, right? So motivating factors. I believe there's always a motivating factor when you're talking to a for-sale owner or expired, right? They're moving, they inherited the property, had tenant stories, behind on payments. Dude, like me telling you about my dad. Man, he didn't want to pay crazy taxes. Taxes went up significantly. He didn't want to pay them no more, right? Stories about what they need the equity for, investor, flipper, sale, right? There's some sort of motivation. Even investor, a lot of these investors go, oh man, well, I'll just hang on to it until something happens. No, a lot of these guys have borrowed money. A lot of these guys need to free up their capital so they can go on to the next one. A lot of these guys, if they could break even on it, believe me, they would sell it in a lot of cases, dude. There have been cases, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, man, and I've worked with investors. I've been an investor. I've bought and sold houses and all this stuff. And believe me, guys, there are a lot of times I'd have been happy to get zero, you know? Yeah, but believe me, there's a lot of these guys that say, well, if I don't sell it, I'll just rent it. Yeah, because that's your plan B. That's your plan B. Your plan A is to sell it and get your money back out so you can go do something else, you know? So now these aren't the only motivating factors. There's a lot of other stuff, right? So we're going to go through some tips and then we're really going to get into the calendar and stuff here. So beware of your tonality, right? Not just what you're saying, but how you're saying it. Use the tone of your voice to build a sense of urgency. And see, that's the problem you guys have too. A lot of you guys are talking to these sellers, you don't have any sense of urgency, right? You need to have a sense of urgency. We need to get your house on the market now because you know what? Labor Day is coming in a week. There'll be a lot of people out of town, a lot of people in town, a lot of people off work, kids out of school. There'll be a lot of people looking at houses that weekend, right? We need to get your house on the market before that. I mean, guys, right now, we don't have very much longer. There's going to be a time change, right? So the afternoons are going to get shorter. Guys, we need to keep that in mind too, because you know what, man? A lot of your afternoon showings aren't going to happen anymore because you know it's going to be too dark here pretty soon. So number two, attempt to set an appointment on every call you make to a seller. Every time you don't try to set an appointment, you wasted that call. Right? Your main objective on the call is to set an appointment, not to list a house. So a lot of agents are missing that too, right? One of the things that you really need is you want to be able to, of course, we all wish that we can list a house on every single call, right? We wish we could call that seller and list over the phone, but the chances of you doing so are probably very slim. What you want to do is you want to set an appointment and list it through your sales process, right? So number four, use a pre-listing package, a pre-appointment package. Use it, man. Use it. Have something to send them, tell about you, your team, and what you do to sell houses. So number five, you need to have a plan to follow up. I'm a big believer that if you don't have a plan, then you just won't do nothing. Most of us, you know what, that was one of the reasons me and Larry were talking about FU bots and stuff and working with agents, working with sellers and things like that. And man, that was one of the things we talked about was how it would automate a lot of your contact and follow-up, especially on those old leads, old databases, and things like that. Because a lot of agents, the reason why you're not following up, the reason why you're not making calls is because you haven't planned anything. You don't really know what to say, right? So don't set an appointment without looking at your calendar, right? I've done this. We've all done this, man. We set an appointment. Dude, I've done it with webinars that I set up. I was the person that did it. And I'm like, oh, man, I set this up from 1 to 2. And, oh, man, but at 2:30, I got to be, an hour away, right? I've done that before. But you don't want to do that with your listing appointments, right? This is your job. A lot of you guys don't realize that. This is your job. So, the estate planner made it a few years ago. I hadn't put one out in a few years. But I did come up with a follow-up plan for every single week based around holidays, days out of school, things like that, right? So number 8, I don't get too fancy with your follow-up. Simple communication. FU bots, when you look at the follow-up scripts and that, when you look at the automation we created, a lot of it's pretty simple stuff, right? And it just saves you time and energy. Now, I do believe that if you use FU bots and then you make calls too, dude, you got a killer combination there, right? Text, I think text is a great follow-up tool, right? But you have to follow up. They're not going to call you back, guys. I don't know if you guys have realized this. Look at yourself. You got somebody that calls you. I had a guy call me yesterday with something that I really wanted. Right? He called me with something I really wanted, man. And this was yesterday morning, but dude, I was in the middle of, I had like 1,000 things going on at one time. And I told him, I said, hey man, I said, look, let me give you a call back in about an hour or so. My day's going to slow down. I'm going to call you back. And I really am interested in this thing that that you were telling me about. I inquired about it, right? Okay. You know what, dude? It is the next day later. It's after 11 a.m. I'm doing this webinar with you guys. And literally as I'm reading this, I thought about that guy and I'm like, damn, dude, I did him the same way sellers have done me, right? But we all do this. We all do this. If they have not listed their home and they haven't sold their home, you need to keep following up. Now, number 12, you need to remove listing from your vocabulary. Do not use that word anymore. Never call a seller and say, hey, Mr. Seller, are you ready to list your house? No, they ain't ready to list their house. They want to sell their house. Follow up with them and say, hey, Larry, Jason Morris here. Just wanted to give you a call. Have you sold your house yet? No, you haven't? Oh my gosh. Why haven't you sold it? What do you think's going on? Well, you know what? We've got a lot of marketing and stuff, a lot of things going on the internet. We're doing for Labor Day because there's going to be a lot of buyers in town, a lot of people off work. It's the last big weekend of the summer. I wanted to see if you were interested in having your home included in our marketing. Can I sell your house? Yes, sir, I can sell your house. Guys, 13, your go-to phrases, right? Guys, just use mine for the time being, right? This is something that's always worked for me. I guess maybe it's your power phrase. Maybe we should coin a new word for this or something, right? But maybe it's your power phrase, but it's your closing phrase that you're comfortable with, you're confident when it comes out of your mouth. Are you ready for me to start working for you? Hey, Mr. Seller, are you ready for me to start working for you? I'd like to come by and take a look at your house tomorrow. Would 3 o'clock work for you? So number 14, offer information. Your follow-up calls gives you another reason to follow up. Hey, Mr. Seller, I want to send you, hey, let me email you over this information. I've done some research here on your neighborhood and your area for a buyer client. Thought I'd give you a call and tell you that, hey, if we put your house on the market right now, you'd be the best priced one on a corner lot. You'd be the best priced one that backs up to the woods. You'd be the best priced one that has a 2-car garage. You'd be the best priced one, that has a brand new roof. Find something unique. Find something unique about that house, right? But, hey, well, let me email you over the research I found. You email it to them, and then guess what, man? You got a reason to follow up with them again tomorrow, right? The hard to get in touch with clients, try the afternoon, try the weekend, things like that. This weekend, honestly, there's a lot of people off work, dude. Just because the seller told you no today doesn't mean no tomorrow. Oftentimes that for sale owner, oftentimes that expired, needs to sell their home. They're not rejecting you. They're just rejecting the offer you made them today. Hey, Mr. Seller, I'd like to stop by and take a look at your house. If we put your house on the market today, it'd be the best priced house. Backing up to the woods in there. I'd like to stop by and take a look at it. Would tomorrow at 3 o'clock work for you? Oh, no, it won't. Hey, no problem. What if we done Saturday? What if we done Saturday morning? Would that be better? Oh, no. Oh, no, I'm not interested in working with a realtor at no time. Hey, no problem. I do understand, but you do want to sell your house, correct? Oh, yeah, we do want to sell it. Okay, that's great, because you know what? That's really what I do is I sell houses and I work with buyers. I'm always working with buyers looking for houses. We always have buyers looking for houses, right? You should send your pre-listing package to every person that you talk to that says they want to sell their house, right? No question about it. And any information you can offer them to sell it, you should definitely do it. So let's get down here in this thing here, because I want to show you guys some stuff. I want to show you guys how your follow-up should be set up. I think that some of you guys are really, really missing what's going on with this. Okay, so August, this is about the time we're in. A lot of us kids just went back to school, but let me give you an example here. August 10th, 16th, my kids went back to school August 3rd. This is the time of year you need to make calls and follow up like crazy. School's back in, and will be in for most parts of the country. A lot of real estate agents with children are going to have to adjust to a new schedule. Guys, right now is the best time ever to make calls, because all of your competition for about, if it takes 2 to 3 weeks, man, to get back in the swing of things, your schedule's going to be thrown off, right? All of a sudden, you got to get the kids to school. You got to be done by a certain time to get them back home. I mean, your schedule's thrown off, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that this is happening to your competition, and so you should really take advantage of that. Right now, calls, I would be willing to bet if we had a way to look, calls are way down, right? Way down. And, these are for sellers. These scripts in this book was designed for sellers that were, that you'd already talked to, right? You'd had some sort of meaningful conversation with them where they told you they wanted to sell their house, gave you some motivation and all that stuff, right? So, Mr. Seller. Hey, Mr. Seller, this is Jason Morris. Have you sold your home yet? Oh, no, you hadn't? Well, gosh, I'm a busy real estate agent. The reason I keep following up with you is because I know I can sell your home. So, do you really want to sell your house? And if they say, no, I don't really want to sell it, hey, that's fine, dude. Just move to the next one. A lot of you guys are taking these leads too personal. You know what I mean? A lot of you guys are taking it too personal. So right now we got school, guys. So we should have, if we're not doing it, a lot of our follow-up right now and a lot of our calls should be done based on just lower competition, right? Just on our competition getting messed up by their kids' school schedule. Okay, week 17 through 23 now. The weeks are a little bit off on this because this is, a couple of years ago, but this will give you guys some good examples. Hey, Mr. Seller, I was in your neighborhood and thought about your house. I can't believe you hadn't sold your home yet. Are you ready for me to start working for you? Right? Easy thing. Call them up. This is somebody you talked to 2 or 3 times. Right, you follow it up, you send them some emails, you send them some information. Hey, Mr. Seller, I was in your neighborhood and thought about your house. I can't believe you haven't sold your home. Are you ready for me to start working for you? Right? You just assume it. We're in the middle of the month. Now, the end of the month, guys, we have some really interesting things that are going on because the end of the month is we got a couple of things that are typically happening. Okay, most sellers have a mortgage payment that's about to come due again, right? Think about that. Most mortgages are due around the first. So we really, really should take advantage of knowing that information. They have a new mortgage payment about to come up. And we want to call them and tell them about missed opportunity, dude. I love missed opportunity calls. Man, these are my favorite. These are my favorite. Hey, Mr. Seller, I wanted to give you a call. You know, the home over on 123 Main Street just went under contract. And the way you do this is you just pull up their address. You just pull up, 125 Squirrel Lane, right? You pull up the neighborhood they're in, and you look for something that just went under contract. And you call them up and say, hey, Mr. Seller, Jason Morris here. Just want to give you a quick call. Man, that house at 123 Main Street just went under contract. And, your house is backing up to the woods, and this one was not. Your house looks like it's a little better location in the neighborhood. It looks a little nicer than the one in the neighborhood. Their house didn't had a 1-car garage. Yours has a 2-car garage. Whatever it is. And I know you told me you're asking $225 for your house, but with what's happened in the market, that's not a bad price, or whatever it is. That's a good price. It's a little bit higher, but you've got a lot of extra features this home don't have. Look, Mr. Seller, our marketing sells homes. I want to meet you. Can I come by your house tomorrow? All right, but you almost want to do a takeaway with them. You're not doing a takeaway, but you almost want to do a takeaway. You want to talk about a missed opportunity. Okay, then we've got September, and always make sure you have a time of day to set an appointment with a seller. If you cannot commit to a time, they can't commit to a time, offer to pencil them in, right? Let's just say you got a seller on the phone. Hey, Mr. Seller, and this was actual script. If you guys look here in the middle of the page, we always got busy lives. It's tough for us to set appointments for things we don't actually have to do. One of my best closing appointment scripts says, hey, Mr. Seller, Jason Morris here. I just want to call you. Have you sold your house yet? Oh, no, you hadn't. Hey, well, look here. I'm going to be in your house tomorrow around 1 o'clock. I was wondering if I could maybe come by. I got another appointment at 1. I was hoping I could stop by after, say, 2 o'clock, if that works for you. Be aggressive. Just be aggressive, because the thing is, a lot of these people that you're talking to are just like these agents we talk to. Their kids are going back to school. They're still wanting to sell their house. Guys, I guarantee you, if they're still wanting to sell their house, kids went back to school, dude, they're still like letting buyers see it. They got something going on. They might not want to tell you what their motivation is, but they got some motivation, right? But you can eliminate time objections by asking more questions. When you try to set an appointment with a tough seller that you just told you, hey, Saturday around 1 o'clock isn't going to work, follow up with another question. Well, hey, Mr. Seller, do you work during the day? You typically, they say, no, tomorrow ain't gonna work. I got stuff going on with the kids. Hey, no problem. Would Sunday be better for you? Hey, no problem at all. Hey, do you work during the week? Oh, yeah, I work over at so-and-so, and yeah, typically I do. Oh, okay, great. Then suggest another time that works around their schedule, right? Don't take no. Don't take no for an answer. Just to offer another time, right? So this right here is where we are right now, right? We're literally this week 36. Ignore the dates for right now. It's a great week to make follow-up calls, guys. Like we talked about just a minute ago. We got mortgage payments are due around the first of the month, and we got Labor Day coming up. So 3-day weekend, right? You got all the summer MLS stats to talk about in your follow-up conversation. You got the house that closed last week. You got the house under contract. You got all this stuff. Hey, Mr. Seller, have you sold your home yet? No, we hadn't. hey, this weekend, Labor Day weekend, there's a lot of people off work and looking at homes this weekend. I don't want us to miss a buyer. Can I put you in my schedule for Monday afternoon? And then guys, guess what? They said, no, that isn't going to work for me, right? Monday's not, Monday will be Labor Day, but actually Monday this week won't be Labor Day, it'll be next week, right? But we want to have a sense of urgency. We have a sense of urgency when we say this. Okay. Then, so that's the week before the holiday. Week before the holiday is great. And guys, here's the funny thing. We pretty much have one of these about every month, right? So September, we got Labor Day. October, we do have Halloween, but that isn't really a holiday. But November, we got Thanksgiving. December, we got Christmas. January, we got New Year's, right? We've got some good weeks. We've got the next 3 or 4 months, man, there's a killer week like this to follow up with, right? So after Labor Day, so this coming week, you guys should all be following up based on, and you should be telling your sellers, every one of your sellers you should follow up with on the phone that you've talked to before. You should follow up with this coming weekend, Labor Day weekend. There's going to be a lot of people off work and looking at homes this weekend. I don't want to miss a buyer. I like the whole thing. We don't want to miss a buyer. I like that. Another one I like is we have a lot of special marketing that's going on for Labor Day because there will be a lot of buyers in town. Would you like to be a part of our marketing plan? Hey, fantastic. There's a little bit of paperwork we need to do, and I need to just stop by your house and get some pictures, right? And you go through the listing paperwork. After Labor Day, want to call, and we have another opportunity to do a missed opportunity call, right? So, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this past weekend was pretty busy. Have you got a contract on your house yet? They're going to tell you no, because you know what, man? They didn't do nothing. They didn't call nobody back. You're not getting calls. Get this. You're leaving messages and you're not getting calls back, right? Now, some of you guys are leaving 10-minute messages. Don't do that no more. Don't do that. Stop it. As soon as you hear me say, as soon as you listen to this webinar, you guys on the recording, stop it. Don't leave a 10-minute voicemail. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Hey, Mr. Seller, this is Jason Morris with ABC Realty. I was giving you a quick call about 123 Main Street. Could you give me a call back at your earliest convenience? Could you give me a call back as soon as you can? All right. So chances are, if you're leaving the voicemails and they're calling back, dude, they're not calling back for anybody else too. Dude, I'm the same way. Man. Yeah. But hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this past weekend was pretty busy. Have you gotten a contract in your house? No. Oh my gosh. You want to look up an MLS, look up their neighborhood, look up the neighborhood they live in, do a 1-2 mile radius if it's not a neighborhood, and say, gosh, we had 3 to go under contract this weekend right there in your area. I feel like we missed a buyer. There's still a lot of people looking. I would like to come by your house Tuesday at 2. Would that work for you so we can start working together? Be aggressive. Assume you're going to close. Assume they're going to say yes. Guys, you always, when you're making these follow-up calls and you're making some calls like this, you guys always dictate the time. Always dictate the time. If you say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is Jason Morris, just wanted to give you a quick call and see if I could stop by at 4 o'clock, right? So they have 4 o'clock, just like your dentist. If you call your dentist today and say, hey, I'd like to get in there and get my teeth cleaned, they go, oh, well, fantastic. We've got an appointment on Thursday at 4. They give you like one time, dude. A lot of you guys are going, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. The seller's saying, yeah, I like what you got to say. And you're going, oh, when's a good time for us to meet? And what happens when they say that, when you say that to them, is you give them an open-ended question without any choices, and they go, oh, I'm not sure. I'm going to have to talk to my wife. You literally created, you didn't create an objection. You created a condition, right? Condition is different than objection. Objection a lot of times is just a smokescreen. A condition is something that's real, that you have to wait for an answer or wait for that time to pass, right? To set an appointment. Like if they say, oh no, I can't meet you tomorrow. I've got a doctor's appointment. Oh no, I'm having surgery on Tuesday. I can't do that because I'm having surgery on Tuesday. Okay, you got to wait for the surgery. And you just got to wait for the surgery, right? That's the only thing you can do is wait for the surgery. And guys, I got Larry on here. Let's go ahead and add him, promote him as a panelist. And, yeah, that's all you can do. You created an objection that nobody else can nobody can really overcome, you know? So, and that's just the way that is. So, let's see.
Hey, what's up, guys? Didn't mean to interrupt. Can you guys hear me?
Cool. So we got Larry on here. We got him unmuted. Larry, Larry's a master at this follow-up stuff too. Larry Lee, he's the guy that actually created. He is the magic behind the whole FU bots thing, and it's working, dude. We got people that are constantly getting results from it. It's only been like the first week of actual agents really using it, right? So now second full week in April, have you sold your home yet? Our office is always working with qualified buyers, but you have to have a property disclosure, right? You offer them something that there's no way that they have it, right? There's no way they have this, and it gives you the opportunity to either take it over there, email it over, follow up, offer to bring them a copy, right? We offer them something of value every single call. So this week, week 39, hey, Mr. Seller, I was doing some research. I want to give you a call. I just noticed the house next door to yours went on the market. But they're asking $150 for it, and yours is a little bit nicer house. When do you want us to start working on selling yours? Hey, I'll be glad to email you over the listing for that house. Glad to be able to email you over the information of that house. They want to see it, dude. They want to see the pictures and all that stuff. I guarantee you. Okay, October. So October, we got fourth quarter goals here. We got Columbus Day. Dude, I forgot about Columbus Day. So that does give us a fourth week off, another holiday off work, right? That we can literally go back and do the same thing. See what I'm talking about? We got to plan. We have to plan our follow-up. And if we don't plan our follow-up and plan what we're going to do and what we're going to say, then we just won't do it, right? Most of us would go through that Columbus Day and just do nothing, right? And but October's going to come around. People have another mortgage payment. Guys, you guys talking about a lot of these sellers just seem so unmotivated on the phone with you. Here's the deal. They may be unmotivated today, but let's say they're selling because of a job opportunity, or they're selling because they lost their job, right? Now, sometimes they just don't want to come out and tell us. Sometimes they don't want to come out and say, hey, Jason, look, man, I lost my job, or my hours got cut. I had to take a new job for a lot less money. And we're going to see stories like that. As the economy continues going in the direction it's been heading on, we're going to see stories like that. I believe unemployment is way different than the job numbers. I just see it with my own tenants, right? But hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, hey, have you sold your home yet? I always ask, have you sold your home yet? No. If they tell you no, dude, continue to follow up with them. Hey, September was a really busy month. Gosh, we had, and pull it up around their house, right? Gosh, we had 14 homes to sell right there around your neighborhood this month. Are you ready to sell yours? Yeah, man, we really need to get rid of this thing. Hey, great. Well, I tell you what, how about Tuesday at 2? You guys going to be home Tuesday at 2? Great. You know what? I'll stop by. Right? First of the month, dude. Now, the mortgage payments, dude, I'm tell you what, man, nothing will motivate you. Nothing will motivate you more than being somewhere you don't want to be and paying for something you don't want to pay, being there. I promise you. Man, nothing to motivate you more than, or struggling to pay a house payment that you're about to die to get rid of. You guys talking these people that seem unmotivated, dude, they're not trying to sell their house just to sell it. I promise you. There might be some of them. They're like, man, if I could walk away with 200 grand, but they're wanting to walk away with $200,000 or $50,000 or $20,000. It isn't the money; it's what the money gives them that's motivating it. Maybe they don't need $20,000. Maybe they don't need $100,000. But I guarantee you, there's something they've been thinking about that if they could walk away with $100,000, they'd be happy to do so, right? Maybe it just gives them peace of mind. Maybe it just gives them security, whatever it is, right? Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, hey, have you sold your home? And I was doing some research, and I know you wanted $225,000 for it, and I saw where the home right beside yours just closed for $219,000. I think your home is a little bit nicer, or your home, that one's on a little bit better lot, but your house has a new roof, something like that. You have to look through your notes. This is why you want to ask details. This is why my scripts have been designed like they are. And if you guys are listening to this and you want a copy of my scripts, send me a message and I'm happy to give them to you, right? Happy to just give you my script book. Looking at everything else on the market, now's a good time to get on the market when you start working for you. And guys, we got to be more diligent than ever, because you know what? I was talking with Larry the other day. We're talking about mortgages, and now Larry's out in Texas, I'm in South Carolina, and I'll tell you this, Larry was talking about he's getting close to, they got some 7.5% rates. Guys, the higher those rates go, the less money they're going to be able to get for the house, the less buying power a buyer has, right? October 19th to 25th, hey, I was in your neighborhood and thought about you. Want to stop by, right? I want to see if you sold your house yet. I was showing buyers in the area homes. I got a buyer that asked some questions about a house near yours. I thought about you, right? Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, have you sold your home yet? We talked on, July 1st, and you mentioned that you were wanting to sell it before school started, or you wanted to be in wherever before Christmas, right? Guys, this is a great one. A lot of people will tell you this time of year, well, by the first of the year, we'd like to be in, Oklahoma. Oh, fantastic. Well, if you want to be in there by the beginning of the year, you really need to put it on the market now, because here's the facts of things, guys. It's going to take you 30, 45 days to get a contract on a well-priced home, right? Maybe you get maybe you get one sooner, but it's going to take you 30, 45 days in most cases. Then it's going to take you another 35 to 45 days to close it if they're getting a loan. I know some of you guys can argue with me on those numbers and say, oh, we're still getting multiple offers and all that. Well, yeah, you might get lucky and you might get a multiple offer, but guess what? You might not. You might not get a multiple offer, right? And you might have to do a price reduction. And it might take 30 to 60 days to close, another 30 days, or 30 to 60 days to get a contract, another 30 days to actually close on it, right? Guys, it doesn't matter what we do in a lot of these cases. Most of these sellers, it is a 3-month cycle. Unbelievably, a lot of things in the real estate business is a 90-day cycle. It does not matter what you do. November in 2020, you know what, man, here at the end of the year, we're heading into November, December. Guys, I mean, you guys can go ahead and put this on your calendar now. And the reason why you want to put this on your calendar now is because you need to make sure you're doing it, number one. But guys, once we start getting around the holidays, man, agents take off. Agents aren't really working, right? And in November, we got Veterans Day and we got Thanksgiving. And we can literally go down through those months just like that. And we can do literally amazing things with that. Now, I'm going to show you guys something here in a second here that I think is going to be, let's see if we can get Larry here. Larry, I'm just going to make you host here for a second, man. Now, guys, with this being said, with a lot of this stuff, we have so many opportunities for follow-up, right? Like if you guys really want to drill down, really build your follow-up uh, system around the holidays, like what we just talked about. I mean, guys, you guys can literally go out here and you can do it. You could actually do it based on you can pull out your kid's school schedule. That's fantastic. Pull out your kid's school schedule, number one. You can pull out work schedules. You can pull out, if you got festivals coming up in the area that are a big deal, like where I'm from this tiny little town, we got a thing called the Striped Bass Festival that people come all over about. Dude, if I was living in that tiny little town and I was selling real estate, man, I would follow up based around that festival, right? Hey, Jason Morris, it's called the Striped Bass Festival. It's in April. I would time block time to follow up around that festival because a lot of people are going to be in town. There's big fishing tournaments. There's a lot of stuff like that bring tremendous amounts of people. If you have something going on like that, you should, in your town or your city, you should be following up on it, right? What do you guys think about this? Hey, Larry.
The boss.
And guys, we have to go through it and we have to do that. This is how we get ahead of the competition. This is how we go out there and we really make a difference and we really help sellers. And guys, the more aggressive you are right now with follow-up, the more aggressive you are with your calls, number one, you're going to do a lot better, right? The first call, people don't even know who you are. The third, it takes about 2 to 3 good conversations with the seller for them to know who you are. But guys, and here's the thing: if you don't follow, they're not going to follow up with you. And you know what, man? There was a guy that made a post in Real Estate Agents That Really Work the other day. He talked about the last expired he listed. He goes, man, I had to make 14 calls to him before I got his house listed. And then he said that he talked about how much commission he made off of that. And the interesting thing about that is that he's averaged like $450 per call. I mean, like, that's crazy. So what questions do you guys have? What things do you guys think about what we talked about?
Just FYI, I turned on the chat. So if you guys were trying to ask questions through the chat, you can do it now. I mean, so that
we can't hear you, Larry.
You can hear me? Hello?
Maybe it's
Hello?
just me.
Can you hear me? Check, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2. Hello. It might be you, Jason, because the thing is showing me that my sound works. Can anyone hear me? Okay, Celia says she can hear me. Honestly, Jason probably doesn't need to hear me, but I want to let you guys know. Thank you very much for confirming. I want to let you guys know you guys can go ahead and put a question in the chat now if you want. Zoom is so stupid right now. It like defaults so that we can't be on camera unless the host turns it on. Unless the host turns on the chat, it's like extra work. So sorry about that. That's across the board. Everybody's Zoom.
Okay, you know what? Maybe it's mine, man. I think it's actually mine. So give me just a second here that I can hear. But yeah,
I'll just keep on talking until Jason gets his sound working. Cheryl, I think, is it Letty? I'm not sure if that's you have your hand raised. You can, if you have a question or whatever, you can go ahead and ask it. I'm not sure if you want to do it via.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you now.
Honestly, Jason probably doesn't need to hear me, but I want to let you guys. There's a bit of an echo.
Zoom is so stupid right now. It's like so that we can be on camera.
It sounds like he's behind too.
Maybe it's mine, man. I'm not sure if that's, you have your hand raised. You can.
I'm gonna mute Jason just for now until he catches up. So let's see here. I'm not sure what he wants me to do because he gave me host, but again, I want to let you guys know. You guys, if you have questions, you can always put it in the chat. And then again, Cheryl, Letty, you have your hand raised. I'm gonna keep it raised until you actually answer your question. So Cheryl, I think your last name is Toey. Sorry if I said it wrong. She asked, just looking for best ways to set up some who says they are ready to sell in the spring. Okay. And Cheryl says, I was trying to find more information about the bots. Where do I go to find out more? Okay, so I'm going to answer Cheryl's question, Cheryl Letty's question first because it's easier. You can go to foobots.com. I'm typing in the chat right now. That gives you a preview version where you can actually read all the content, the testimonials. You can see walkthroughs. I even have like the actual coaching content in there. And you don't have to sign up to look through it. But if you want to engage or comment or actually get access to the CRM, then you do have to sign in. And there'll be like a button that says, click here to pay or sign up, whatever. And that's if you officially want to become a part of the group. Now, officially, Jason and I have turned off any subscriptions at this point because we had people sign up like not this last Sunday, but the Sunday before that. And we still haven't onboarded everyone yet. And this is partially my fault. Bandwidth wise, I probably should have said 5 people, but I guess 10. And it was a little too much. Plus, kids are going to school. I was trying to take advantage of that time, whatever. Anyways, it's my fault, right? But I'm going to get everyone up and running by this weekend, probably Monday for sure, meaning like, because we might have people set up on the weekends, but the follow won't go out till Monday. That means their first campaigns won't be launched until Monday, because of course sometimes people might not want to send messages on a Sunday or Saturday, whatever. So officially, my goal is to get everyone done by Monday, which is about 2 weeks turnaround time. But I promise the next iteration will be like less than a week because I worked out some kinks. I figured out some issues. There was a little bit of trial and error, and we're going to resolve that for the next iteration. But again, officially, Cheryl, the subscription is closed, but we'll let you know when it's open. Now, some people have snuck in. If you do that, we'll have to address that if that happens. But just so you can see the information, that's a good place to start. And I don't know if I can answer the question that Cheryl, I can't even see your name here, Cheryl Toey. Okay, just looking for best ways to set up some who says they are ready to sell in the spring. I mean, from a automation standpoint or from a scheduling standpoint, a CRM like what we have would be useful because you can actually create campaigns where it follows at a certain time. I'll give you an example, right? Let's say I follow with 100 leads using my automation, and let's say 5 of them say, I'm not ready yet, reach out to me in 2024, right? So I actually would create a campaign that would start like the first week of 2024. So you actually can do that with any CRM, I believe, but for sure, FooBots or FUBots, you can actually set it up. So let's say I have, a normal campaign that I would send out, but instead of sending it so that it launches today or tomorrow, I have it so it launches in about 3.5 months, right? So I set it and forget it. What I mean is I put people in there. And then I know that even though they're in that campaign, they're not going to get a message until 3.5 months later. So I can literally, like I said, set and forget. I put them in there and I don't even have to think about it, right? Like I already programmed the future me to follow with them 3.5 months from now, right? And that takes a little bit of tailoring and customizing, but it's really, really helpful if you're doing the things in chunks, right? And what I mean by that, and an example of how I do my follow-up is I'll talk to every single person that month. And then if I have, let's say 100 leads, let's actually make it bigger. Let's say it's 1,000 leads, right? And out of 1,000 leads, about 20 of them say, hey, I'm not ready. I'll talk to me in 2024. I'll actually earmark them. I'll tag them 2024, right? Or follow them. I'll tag them. There's a place you can tag in most CRMs for sure on Foobots. And when I'm done with the month of follow-up, I'll be like, okay, so who do I need to move where, right? These people said that, they're not ready until 6 months. Okay, I have a 6 month from now campaign that I'm going to put them in, right? So I'm going to move these people. I can do a mass move or a bulk transfer where these 20 people who said 6 months, I'm going to go ahead and assign them to the 6 month follow-up campaign. And I can create a generic campaign like that. It says follow up in 6 months, right? So it will be designed not to launch a text or email, whatever, until well, actually, no, you can't do it with text. What you do with email, not to send anything until 6 months later. So again, I move those 20 people. I set and forget it. I know that they're not going to get a message until March. And once I put them in there, I can forget about it, right? And then the people who said don't follow up with me until next year, well, I know that's in about 3.5 months, whatever. So I'll put those people in like maybe a 3 month campaign, whatever. And then I do that every single month, right? So then, let's say this is August. I finish with August, and now I'm doing September. I go through 1,000 leads, and then I have another 15 people who are saying, follow me in 6 months. I'll put them in the same campaign in 6 months because I already know it's scheduled not to follow up until 6 months later. And that way I can kind of almost like prepare my pipeline for the future, right? And I think that will make life a lot easier because no way in heck are we going to remember who to call when. And we can create as many notifications or reminders as possible. Why do that when you can actually do it in bulk, right? But yes, in Foobots, you can put reminders, you can schedule them, you can do all sorts of things so that it does tell you. And there's a part in Foobots where you actually click tasks or a calendar, and it'll actually list all the different things that you need to talk to that you create, right? So and in the campaigns, you can actually put it so that you actually send them a message, also sends you a task reminder, because you might want to send them an email, but you also might want to make a phone call, right? So you'll set it and forget it 6 months from now, 20 people, right? And then you'll get 20 reminders saying, hey, don't forget to follow up with this person because they told you to follow up in 6 months. And that notification will be sent to your email. So you'll forget it, but then your email will remind you that you set this person on a 6 month campaign. And you'll be like, oh crap, that's right. I remember 6 months ago, they told me don't reach out to me 6 months ago. So they must have got an email, but I'm gonna go ahead and make a call right now, right? So the CRMs is designed not only to just send out messages, but it also can send you notifications and reminders. We call it a task, right? On what to do. So there's like 4 different things that you can program: an email, a text message, a ringless voicemail, and a task. So a task is a message that's sent to you, not to the client, right? So it's a real good way to get organized, right? So Jason, I would follow any day except Christmas and Thanksgiving. Okay, you actually program Foobots to not follow up on a particular day, right? It actually gives you an option. I guess I can do a screen share. I don't know what Jason's doing. Maybe he's still trying to get his thing going, but I'm going to show you real quickly. And Jason, of course, you can always unmute or chime in, whatever. But I'm going to show you like a thing about Foobots where
I'm going to show you real quickly. And Jason, of course,
Hey,
you always unmute
I was actually.
I'm going to show you like a thing about Foobots where
there's a little echo right there.
I was
Yeah, I think maybe because Jason's using his computer's mic, maybe that's why there's an echo. But of course, if you want to try to communicate, Jason, and you don't want to unmute, you can always type it and I'll read it. But I'm going to show you I'm going to show a feature to our audience here so they understand what I mean by that, by scheduling, right? So I'm going to go and share my screen real quick. So these are campaigns that you can find in Foobots. Okay, I have 60 something of them. There's gonna be more. A lot of them are for agents, a lot of them for loan officers. So that's where there's 60. Even though when you sign up as an agent, you might get like 30. Is because I don't think you need the lender ones. If you tell me you want them, I can give it to you, right? But here's an example, right? Actually, let's go with a 600-day touch, right? Because that's going to be the one that might hit multiple holidays, right? You actually click here. And in the settings right here, so this is the follow-up. This is like all the follow-up. So it tells you how many messages, when they're being sent, what time they're being sent, right? This is going out for 2 years, like 600 days. So it's about 1.5 years, right? but you can go to settings, like Jason said, and actually choose when to turn off this campaign, and actually click the dates. Like, what date do I want it to be turned off? Like, don't send one on Christmas, right? Christmas is the 25th, right? So let me make sure that they don't get a message on the Christmas. Don't send one on Christmas. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna make it so it's not just Christmas. I don't think they should get one on New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve. So don't send one on Christmas. Why is it not letting me? Oh, this is August. Don't send anything. Actually, don't even send anything on the 23rd, right? So nothing 23rd, and don't send anything up until Christmas. I don't care if I bug them on Black Friday or whatever, right? Or not. I guess it's not Black Friday, the day after Christmas. So I'm telling Foobots, don't say anything on the 23rd or 25th. So even if the campaign is scheduled to send at that day, we'll actually just wait until the next day. So it'll be Tuesday at like 9 a.m. or whatever. So you can press add, right? So that's one of my rules. I can program all the holidays if I want to. If I want to avoid Thanksgiving, which I think is like the last Thursday of the month or something like that, I can do that, right? So that's going to be what, the 30th? I don't know. I'm not good with that kind of stuff, but just so you know, I'm telling Foobots, don't say anything on this day, right? Press add. So that's my other rule, right? So that's something really cool because obviously you don't want to bug people certain days. I like to bug them on those days because to me sometimes they're bored. So I might send a message later in the afternoon. You also select so it doesn't send on the weekend. See, this one says turn off, you'd like to send notifications lead over the weekend. I think it's okay, but if you don't want to bug people on the weekends, or you yourself don't want to have to answer someone on the weekend, you can turn that off, right? So pretty cool, pretty easy. Another thing that since we're talking about time, you can actually set up the campaign so it doesn't send before 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. or 5 a.m. is the earliest, right? They're not gonna let you like spam blast massively text people before 5 a.m. That's the earliest, which I still think is crazy unreasonable. Earliest is probably gonna be 8 a.m., right? But I can make it so that it doesn't send anything before a certain time and it won't send after a certain time. So I can actually make the latest after 11, which of course I think is still too late, right? But there's no way you can send anything at midnight. It's not, the system's not gonna let you do that because they themselves know that's unreasonably stupid, right? So the cool thing about this is that you might have a campaign that says send immediately, right? Well, let's say a lead comes in from like your Facebook ad or your Google ad, which we can set up for you through Foobots. But let's say someone opted in at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're not going to get a text back at 2 a.m. That makes no sense. Like if someone opted in at 2 a.m. and you go, hey, thanks for, checking out my website. Are you ready to talk? The person's going to know that's fake. Like no one's paying attention to their work at 2 a.m. So it'll actually set it up so it won't send until 8 a.m., which makes more sense, right? So that's one of the cool things about Foobots is you guys can control like when the message gets sent. You have control over that, and you can avoid certain days, whatever. I mean, it's one of those things where I think every CRM should have that requirement. But Foobots makes it really easy because I mean it's pretty easy to read. It's not like rocket science to try to figure out how to program this, right? So again, that's just kind of an idea. Oh, also, I was talking about tasks, right? So this is all SMS and emails, right? There's no voicemails. The reason why I don't program voicemails as a default, because it'll be my voice. You don't want my voice on there, right? So I would rather you not send a campaign with my voice on it because it won't make any sense. So I don't program in there, but I can show you how to put them in there if you want. But another thing is, see, you got emails, text messages, voicemails, and a task. So again, this task is me telling myself, what would you like to do? Call the lead, right? So now, whenever the lead populates, it actually will send me a reminder. See, 5 minutes, call the lead, right? So if a lead comes in from Facebook, they'll get a text message right away. They're going to email right away. They go to another text message, and then 5 minutes later, I'll get a reminder called the lead, right? Or I can make it immediate, right? I can make it so it's give me a notification right away. Lead pops in, I want to know right away. I don't know why I didn't do that. I not press save. Okay, that's weird. Crashing on me here. Maybe it won't let me do immediate. I don't know. It's weird. It should, but yes, it'll send you an email. That way, you'll be notified that you're supposed to call this person. And then, of course, these tasks, or when you go to a certain lead, for example, let me go to this lead here. I can actually put a task here, call this person in 6 months, right? So 6 months from now is August. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I wouldn't call them a 6, so for 26, 6-minute follow-up. Add. Messed up there. I want it to be at, let's call it 10:30. Add. Why is it not letting you do that? So weird. Call a follow-up lead. 6-month FU. See, and now the task is there. And when I go to tasks, I'll see it here. See, something is going to happen in 777 days. What I encourage my FooBots members to do is when you log in, first thing you should do is check your calendar. And the next thing you do is you should check your tasks and just go through those first, right? Well, you should respond to any leads first, of course, because they're live, they're active, whatever. Someone's asking you a question, whatever, then you need to follow with them first, and then go to your calendar and then your tasks. And you can do that with every single lead. Like I can go down every single lead and put a task, 6-month follow-up, 2 months follow-up, whatever, and organize myself that way, right? So let me see here. Jason might be. Oh, Jason said for some reason my headset isn't connecting and my computer mic is behind, but this is the stuff I want you to share. Okay, perfect, awesome. Cheryl Toei asked, the only touches are emails. I do have a CRM. Actually, we do. Like I think I showed you just now. Is there's three types of touches. So when you go to campaigns, go automate follow up, add new. You can make it an email, a text message, a voicemail, or a task. Okay. So automated email, text message, voicemail. You can't automate your phone calls, right? I mean, like me as a human can't do that, right? I can put a task to say call, but you can call people using FooBots, right? So let's go. I go to my leads here, right? Let's say I want to follow up on all my leads. Let me follow up all 79 leads, right? And this is just a default. Like these numbers are obviously in spam callers who are calling. That's why it's inbound, right? But I can go to bulk action right here, and I can do call, and I'll actually put them right here, and I press play, and I'll start calling them one at a time. I can warm transfer, bad number, busy signal, no answer, voicemail. I hang up with this person, and I'll actually call. I can click here to call the next person. Busy signal, right? And then I can hang that up and go to the next call, and so on and so on. I can do like dialer style, right? So that's another touch, but it's not automated. That's something that you have to do manually, right? You can also do like a blast. So I click here, select all 79 leads. I can do a blast where I can do a bulk action, right? Send a broadcast. Broadcast is a bulk email or text, right? And, when Jason was talking about this in his presentation, I thought to myself, you can schedule them, right? If you want to. I have clients who just sends a blast, right? Like, for example, Happy St. Patrick's Day, who actually will go to his leads. He'll select his leads. He'll select all of them. Sometimes he doesn't select all of them because he has like 10,000. So he might select a segment. These are buyer leads. These are listing leads. These are whatever leads, right? So I only have 79 in here. So I'm going to select all 79. I go to bulk actions and I can send a broadcast, and I can text them all. Hey, it's Larry, the mortgage guy. I wanted to wish you and your family a happy and safe St. Patrick's Day. And when I press send, all 79 people are going to get that text, right? Now, I don't suggest sending a blast to 10,000 people. First of all, you're going to kill the server. So if you want to do something like that, let me know. If you're using FooBots, let me know so that we can make sure that we have the capacity. You might have to put some upfront money to cover, because it does cost money to do mass text and emails. So let us know if you want to do that. Like my client who does that, he actually lets me know. He gives me his credit card. I charge it to a certain amount, and he uses it to send as a blast out, right? I think he charges like $1,000 at a time, whatever. So that's your choice if you want to do that. But it's a cool little way to get in front of everyone, just real quickly, just to say hi to everybody, right? It's like a CC, but the thing is, they all get individual text messages or individual emails. It's not like a group one, right? So that's kind of a cool feature. Very easy. It takes like less than 30 seconds to do one. You can also move them in different campaigns. So let's say I have a campaign designed for holidays, right? I told this example before. I actually would probably, and I'm probably going to create this to make like y'all's lives easier. I'm probably going to create a holiday campaign where it will send a text message and an email around the time. It can't be perfect because we don't use dates on our campaigns. It's 1 day after the lead's added, 10 days after the lead's added, 50 days after the lead's added. It doesn't say send a message at this date. We don't have that capacity, right? You have the capacity of selecting which dates not to send, but you don't have the capacity of saying, I want this message to be sent on this day and this message to be sent on this day. It's not that sophisticated, okay? But what I would do is I'm going to create a campaign where if you launch it at a certain day, it will be pretty close. So I'm actually going to probably create one for New Year's Eve, okay? So what I mean by that is I'm going to create a campaign where I'm going to wish them a holiday, happy greeting, whatever, on every holiday. I guess that would be appropriate to wish them around the time. So on New Year's Eve, if you launch everyone on New Year's Eve, it's going to say, hey, well, I wanted to say, wish a happy New Year's or Happy New Year's Eve, whatever, right? And they'll get that text, and then you'll actually launch them on a 12-month campaign where they're going to get a happy holidays, happy New Year's, happy Thanksgiving, happy Valentine's Day, whatever, around the time that the date is going to be. Because again, I can't guarantee it's going to be exact. But if you do that, then you can be in front of them every holiday and you can do it automatically. And the cool thing about FooBots is if you wanted to, you can actually turn off or turn on auto stop. Okay. Auto stop is a feature that I think is necessary. It really frustrated me with other CRMs where it didn't do that automatically. You have to almost program it to do that on each individual message. Whereas in this case, it's either all or nothing. What I mean by that is if someone messages you during this campaign, it kills the rest of the campaigns. It no longer sends. So if there's 100 messages, it's not going to send the 100 messages once it's replied to. So if you have 100 messages, you send one gets sent and they reply it, the other 99 no longer exists. It auto stops. Okay. And I think that's how it should be, because why would you keep on following with someone, especially if they're like, stop, take me off your list, or they go, I'm interested. You don't want to send them more marketing text messages. You should be taken over as a human at that point, right? So that's why I like the auto stop feature. But on like a holiday campaign where you just want to send a message, whether or not they reply or not doesn't matter to you, I might actually turn off the auto stop message, right? So that if you send a message like again for St. Patrick's Day and they go, thanks, you too, it doesn't kill the rest of the year. They're still going to get the happy April Fool's Day, or hey, don't forget to turn back your clock or whatever, forward your clock, whatever, right? Happy Veterans Day, whatever, right? I don't know if you would wish that, whatever, but basically I would create the campaign so that you always have those messages sent out no matter what, if they reply or not, because why not have it keep going, right? So yeah, that's something that I'm tinkering with. So 2 ways to wish them on a holiday is put them in a campaign like that where it's pre-programmed to send a message during the holidays or around the time of holidays. In my case, I'm going to try to do that. Or you can do a blast like I showed you, right? So a few options there. I'm going to go back to the Zoom. I'm going to stop share, see if there's any other comments or whatever. Doesn't look like there's any other questions. Yeah. So any questions thus far? Jason, you can come back, whatever. I'm going to stop talking so there won't be an echo. Or maybe you want to go to bed. I don't know. Maybe you want to take a nap or something. Who knows? Well, sorry if I bored you guys. Looks like I lost like a couple of you guys while I was doing the share. Yeah. Any questions or anything?
Hey man, I appreciate everybody being on the call with us today. Sorry,
Sorry, I bored you guys. I lost like a couple of guys on the share. Any questions or anything?
Hey man, I appreciate everybody being on the call with us today. Sorry,
Sorry, I bored you guys.
yeah. So I tell you what, Larry, you want to wrap things up and show how they can subscribe to. Well, they can't subscribe to FU Bots today. We're not ready to take new subscribers, but I appreciate everybody being on. Thank you guys, and I'll let Larry wrap things up real quick, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll take over. So yeah, Jason's probably his wireless headphones are probably too advanced. See, I use a wired one because I'm simple, right? But yeah, so wanted to thank you guys for being on this call. I meant to be on the call in the beginning, but I was on another like coaching call that I'm a part of, VA related, and it was their first meeting, so it went longer than normal. But yeah, wanted to thank you guys. If you guys have any questions, you can always find us in the group and comment there. You can reach out to us. Hopefully you have, I think you signed up through Jason's Zoom call, so you might have his email or something. You always reply back there. If you wanted more information, FUBOTS, FUBOTS.com. I'll make it real simple here. I'll just put it in FUBOTS.com. FU as in follow up, FU and then bots, BOTS.com. So follow up automation, but we call it FUBOTS.com. You want more information, or you can Google it. You can probably find it. We put a lot of content out there. And yeah, just reach out to me or Jason if you have any questions. Officially, we're not open for more clients because I'm still onboarding like the first, I think we have 12. We're only supposed to get 10, but we got like 12 people, like some people snuck in, whatever. I'm still onboarding those people, so I'm not ready to onboard anyone else. Now, if you want to sign up, if you want to wait, then that's your choice, right? But yeah, officially we're not open because of that. But the idea or the promise or the goal and the intention is to get everyone done by this weekend so that Monday they have activities happening. And then, we're going to open again on Sunday because even though Sunday I might be helping people, I believe that Sunday people will give us a little grace and not expect anything until the next day, which is Monday, which is my goal, to be ready to go, hands-free, ready to talk to you guys and answer questions and sign you guys up starting Monday, right? But if you have any questions, let us know, right? Really appreciate you guys being on this call. I know Jason appreciates you guys being on this call. If you have any questions, let us know. Bye, guys.